Giving birth abroad. What are the advantages and disadvantages? Hi, in this video we're going to tackle exactly that. What are the benefits and the negative points of giving birth abroad? Is it risky? Are you risking your life, the life of your kid, or there's nothing to worry about? All right, that's going to depend on where you are and where you give birth, and also your financial mean. For example, my daughter was born in the Philippines. Now, you could look at some of the videos and be in horror with the fact that 125 women gave birth in the same room at the same time, on 3-4 women per bed, and it was an absolute pandemonium. And that kind of things is common in the Philippines. There's a lot of videos which I consider more clickbait, if you will, that demonstrate these things. But the idea, this is risky and messy. But if you have money, like we did, and we had insurance as well, we gave birth at St. Luke Global, which is the number 25, well, at least it was at the time in 2012, in the entire world. 25th best hospital in the world out of thousands of hospitals. So amazing. It felt like being in Star Trek. The hospital was brand new, first of all, built a year earlier. Absolutely new and wonderful. So no risk. Now, what are the advantages of that? Well, in our case, none, because of the fact that my daughter wouldn't get citizenship, and there's no value in having a Filipino citizenship when you already have a Canadian one. And there's no universal health care, there's no basic income, there's no, the passport is not recognized, you need visa to go anywhere. So that's what I mean by there's not much advantage of having a Filipino citizenship. So she couldn't get it and we didn't care. But the disadvantage here is she's a Canadian citizen born abroad. Very fast for me to just prove, where she was conceived, that we're the parents, and where she was born with all the documents, which took a bit of time, I have to agree, but I think that would have been the case anywhere else, US, Canada, Europe. I don't think the Philippines was any, slower or more complex to get the documentation than any other countries in the world. Bureaucracy is the same everywhere, in my opinion, or close enough. So that's it. But in her case, the law in Canada is very clear. If you're not born in Canada and you are naturalized Canadian because your parents are Canadian, you will not be allowed to do the same thing for your own kid. Meaning, if my daughter does not give birth in Canada this time, then forget about it. Her kids will not be allowed to be Canadian citizen automatically. So that's a disadvantage. Now, that law may change in the next 20 years until she gives birth to, if she, have a kid. But the point is, it is a disadvantage. Now, where could it be an advantage, and why would you want to give birth abroad in an advantageous situation? Well, you may want to give birth in Hong Kong if you're a Chinese citizen, for example, because you would get all the advantages of being a Hong Kong citizen, meaning Commonwealth passport that is allowed in Canada and Europe and other places, and have the same benefit as a Chinese citizen. So then you just get more benefit for your kid, which is perfect. Now, on the other end, you can also give birth in the United States, but that you have to be careful a little, and because the United States is very, very low in the infant mortality. Well, actually, they're high. They're low in the ranking. They're very high in the risk of infant mortality. They are almost as bad as Iran and Pakistan. So this is pretty bad. So if you give birth in the United States, understand that your kid has as much chance as dying as if you lived in Pakistan, and also if you consider the extreme amount of money that it may cost you to give birth in the United States, because there's no health care other than with insurance or paying cash, and with Trump it's getting worse and worse, or at least they're trying to make it worse. You have to understand that this is also a risk. But if it's worth it to give birth in the United States, then that's fine. But I just want you to understand that there are also pitfalls to that effect, and you have to make sure of this before you do give birth there. So your kid will get automatic US citizenship. That's amazing, because then the passport worth a lot, and there's still good opportunities in having a US citizenship. Other pitfalls that you may go through is the fact that you may not be able to travel very easily close to your delivery date, meaning that you are 7 months pregnant, for example, you may not be allowed to board a plane. They might just say, no, you have too much risk of giving birth on the plane, or also countries have agreement with airlines to prevent people from exactly doing that. Unless you're going back home to your country, you may not be allowed to travel if you're going to another country and where you might just give birth there, like basically have an anchor baby, a baby that is born there. So then in the future, the baby could say, okay, I'm an American citizen, I'm going to bring my parents because I'm an American citizen. So you sort of like put your baby as an anchor in the United States, so then in the future you can go there. And trust me, a lot of people are planning ahead. I just finished this course on Ivy League schools, and I can tell you for a fact that a lot of people are even planning their pregnancy, so their kids are born at certain times in order for them to be able to get into better schools. So imagine when we're talking about citizenship, it's not a joke. It's really serious. People are doing that. So I hope that was useful, and if you have any questions, please put them in the comment below, and have a good delivery. If you enjoyed that video, give it a thumbs up. You can also subscribe to our channel and visit our website, mariostanger.com, where we have tons of videos on how to travel all over the world. I'm pouring all the knowledge and experience I've acquired over the past 15 years traveling and living everywhere on earth. Pursue the dream. There's nothing better than just exploring our world. There's so much to see, and doing it as a perpetual traveler is an amazing thing, and you can do it too.